Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be going into Vader's crash land on RYLOTH, but before we begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. Alright, so shortly after the events of the last video, which I'd highly recommend watching after this one if you haven't seen it already, Vader and the Emperor reboarded the Perilous and resumed their course to the RYLOTH system. However, upon their exit from hyperspace, the ship immediately began slamming into spatial mines set up by Cham Syndulla's rebels. Hidden among these mines were specialized devices designed to drain the ship's shields, which began to buckle under the continual assault. As the shields neared failure, a swarm of several hundred reprogrammed vulture droids set upon the Perilous from the system's asteroid belt. Vader boarded his personal interceptor and took several squadrons of Imperial pilots to destroy the droid fighters and the mines, but discovered a short time into the battle that vulture droids were each carrying a payload of explosive buzz droids. Realizing that the vultures themselves were simply delivery systems meant to unload the buzz droids near or inside the Star Destroyer, Vader ordered his squadron to concentrate fire on them, as they presented a far greater threat than the mines. But between the mines and the vultures, they were simply too many targets for Vader and his squadrons to handle, and the Perilous was severely damaged. The second wave of vultures was detected immediately after the first had been destroyed, further compounding the already bleak situation. A message came to Vader from Captain Lewitt of the Perilous that the ship could sustain virtually no more damage without being completely destroyed. Vader moved to intercept the second wave alone, ordering his squadrons to remain near the Perilous to destroy any droids that got past him. Though incredulous, the squadron commander obeyed, and Vader used the Force to begin tearing apart the compartments of the vulture droids that housed the explosive buzz droids. He then used the Force to begin flinging buzz droids at the other incoming fighters, and repeated this process until the vast majority of the vulture droids had been destroyed. The remaining fighters were annihilated by Vader's squadrons, and he himself returned to the Perilous. Vader marched to the Star Destroyer's bridge and force-choked Ta for a short time, informing him of the traitor and his staff that had been responsible for the assault on the Perilous. Utterly terrified, the senator vowed to find the traitor, but the Emperor had Ta and his staff confined to their quarters, an order that was then broadcast from the Imperial headquarters on RYLOTH for any and all repair ships to aid the Perilous as it sped badly damaged towards the planet. Unbeknownst to Vader, though, some of the Twi'lek repair teams in fact compromised members of the Free RYLOTH movement, one of which was a group of saboteurs with orders to plant timed explosives on the hyperdrive core of the Perilous. Shortly after the teams landed, one of the Free RYLOTH groups engaged in a firefight with Imperial stormtroopers. When Vader learned of this, he ordered all of the Twi'lek repair teams, numbering over 100, to be killed, regardless of whether they were aiding the assault, and proceeded to Deck 17, where the firefight had been reported. On the way, he killed a group of apparently uninvolved Twi'leks before proceeding to the hyperdrive chamber. The saboteurs, who were led by Cham's second-in-command, Isval, had managed to seal the hatch to the hyperdrive core before any Imperial troops could interrupt them, and Vader began to use his lightsaber to cut it open. By the time Vader finished cutting through the hatch, the saboteurs had already concluded their business and escaped. The main hyperdrive core had been riddled with timed charges, set to detonate if anyone attempted to disarm or to remove them. Vader concluded that the ship was lost, and ordered the captain to evacuate. Vader then contacted Sidious, who instructed his apprentice to meet him aboard his shuttle. Before departing, however, Vader made one last attempt to kill the saboteurs, but they narrowly evaded him and escaped in an Imperial escort boat. Subsequently, Vader reunited with the Emperor and left on the shuttle, mere minutes before the Star Destroyer exploded. Shortly after, the Imperial traitor Belcor Dre provided Cham with the transponder identity of the Emperor's shuttle, as he directed Isval and her group aboard the escort boat to attack it. Vader's exceptional piloting skills allowed him to evade the boat and then fly upside down over its cockpit within direct visual range of its pilots. Once there, he used the Force to choke both Isval and her co-pilot, but before losing consciousness, Isval rammed the shuttle with her escort boat. The crash disabled the shuttle's main power, and Vader had to use a nearly depleted backup battery to attempt to crash on RYLOTH. As he guided the ship through the atmosphere, he had flashbacks of events and people from his past. Though distracted, Vader managed to land the ship in RYLOTH's equatorial forest region. But his distraction did not go unnoticed by the Emperor, who noted that the landing would have been poor compared to what he knew Vader to be capable of. Not too long afterwards, the Twi'lek insurgents continued their assault on freighters, prompting Vader and the Emperor to take action and to destroy them, before moving away from their fallen shuttle. At night, they stopped to rest, when the Emperor questioned his regret and loyalty. But Vader showed himself devoted still. They were soon attacked by a lilac horde, forcing them to retreat into a tunnel, unaware that they had entered their nest. They stood their ground against hundreds of lilacs and their significantly threatening queen, and killed them all before exiting the tunnel and finding a young Twi'lek, Drua. When the Emperor tried to kill her, Vader stopped him, intending to have the girl guide them to her village, where they obtained a communicator to speak with Moff Mors. After giving them their coordinates, they were finally surrounded by Syndulla's forces, but so did Mors, aiding them in quelling the rebellion. As the stormtroopers killed the Twi'leks, Vader noticed a trio of Twi'leks, Syndulla, Isful, and Gol, watching them from afar, and went on to kill them. But Gol and Syndulla escaped, leaving Vader to capture Isful and bring her before the Emperor. He mocked her, telling her that her people had accomplished nothing, and Vader subsequently executed her. On the Emperor's orders, Vader then killed the villagers to leave no witnesses concluding their mission. When Moff Tarkin's Sentinel base was attacked, Vader was stationed in the Imperial Palace on Coruscant, where he held a court with the Deputy Director of the ISB, Harris Ison, berating Coruscanti criminals, as well as Prefect Foka Suit of level 1331 for ignoring the Emperor's decrees. Telling them to move their operations out of Coruscant, Vader then made an example of Suit for his disrespect and crushed his heart with the Force, and adjourned the court to meet with Tarkin and Grand Vizier Masamida. The latter politely asked Vader to refrain from killing all those who displeased him, to which the Sith replied that he would give thought to the matter, before greeting Tarkin and sharing his latest developments of the Death Star's construction. The pair separated when Vader left Tarkin, who met with the Emperor alone. Afterward, Vader, like Tarkin and Masameda, partook in a meeting between the Imperial Ruling Council and the leaders of Imperial Security Bureau and Naval Intelligence Agency in the palace's audience chamber, overseen by the Emperor. He then assigned Tarkin and Vader to a mission on Marcana to investigate recently discovered shadow feed technology and its relationship to the attack on Sentinel base. The pair traveled to the planet on the Carrion Spike, which Vader made to carry his meditation chamber. On Marcana, however, the spike was stolen by unknown dissidents, prompting Vader and Tarkin to kill the Suji crime lord Faza and take his Parsec Predator to pursue the stolen ship, hidden by its cloaking systems. Making use of his connection to his meditation chamber, Vader pinpointed the rebels' location to the Fiel system, and later, the Galadran system, where they engaged the spike before they jettisoned his meditation chamber and escaped to Lukazak. With the Predator disabled, Vader and Tarkin boarded the Liberator, from which Vader issued his black Eta II interceptor to be transported to the Goliath from Coruscant. On the Goliath, Tarkin told Vader that the insurgency was surely being supported by someone high up in the Imperial military, and predicted that the insurgents would go to Findar to refuel the spike. Subsequently, Vader led a squadron to attack the stolen Corvette in the Findar system. Though they greatly damaged the ship, it escaped, prompting Tarkin and Vader to calculate its trajectory to the Obra Sky system. Teller transmitted false intelligence that the insurgents were heading to the Obra Sky system. Hoping to capture the Carrion Spike, Tarkin and Vader deployed substantial Imperial resources, including 3 interdictor vessels. The prototype Immobilizer 418 cruiser malfunctioned, yanking several ships out of hyperspace and causing a massive accident. Despite failing to catch the spike, the Imperials managed to capture the YT-1000 light freighter Rat Descent, which Teller had sent as a decoy to throw off the Imperials off scent. While Vader interrogated its Kuriver captain on the executrix, Tarkin assessed Imperial databases and discovered the identities of the insurgents, including its leader, Birch Teller. Vader also interrogated the Resistance Cymerthian navigator, who suffered a heart attack. However, Vader learned from one of his contacts in the Crymora Syndicate that a lieutenant had negotiated a deal with the Suji crime lord Faza for a supply of custom fuel cells. These fuel cells had reached Mercana shortly before Tarkin and Vader's arrival, thus confirming that Faza had been colluding with the insurgents. After a private holo transmission with the Emperor, Vader told Tarkin that Vice Admiral Dodd Rancid was sure the insurgents would attack the Imperial Academy at Caradia next. Then, Vader parted ways with Tarkin to meet with Rancid, but not before asking for the meaning behind the Carrion Spike's name, and Tarkin told him about his test in Iradu's Carrion Plateau. On the Carida system, Vader boarded the Secutor-class Star Destroyer Conquest and met Rancid, just as the Spike reverted to real space, astrologating on autopilot. Aware of Rancid's treason as a co-conspirator of Teller, Vader had Lieutenant Crest place Rancid aboard an escape pod, and had Rancid give himself the command to issue the fire order that destroyed it. Elsewhere, Tarkin dealt with the rebels, ending the insurgency. Following the defeat of Teller's insurgents, Vader spent the next 3 weeks helping Tarkin to interrogate the captured insurgents, with the exception of Teller, who managed to escape. While none of the insurgents had died under questioning, the Emperor had the insurgents executed privately. Vader also led a crackdown on the warehouse workers and salvages, who supplied Teller's dissidents along with several scientists at Desolation Station, who had provided Teller with information. Vader also took action against the Ten Lost Syndicate and lower-level members of the Crymora Syndicate who had assembled Birch Teller's warship, a modified Providence-class dreadnought. So what'd you guys think of this short story? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.